Hello everyone, Yukiro here with another video. Today we're gonna do a Q&A because it's always fun to answer new questions. We've already done a little Q&A before, and obviously I'm always happy to answer questions in chat. But today I was gonna do something a little bit more closer to being a VTuber, since, that's what I am. Now, I wasn't really sure what I was gonna do going into being a VTuber, but I'm kind of glad I did. Now, I'm obviously a indie VTuber, so I'm not part of any co-op. So I get a little bit more freedom in, deciding what I want to do and how I do it. I try to be as chill as I can be because it's more fun to hang out with friends and to be just happy than it is to just constantly be angry. But anyway, that's besides the point. Uh, so let's just get straight to the point, shall we? Let's answer some questions that you may or may not have had. What inspired your VTuber persona and design? We all know that I am a dragon because dragons are awesome. But there's more to it than that. I have gone over this before, slightly, but I think I'll go in a little bit more in depth this time. I personally knew I wanted to have a dragon design going into this for a lot of reasons, really. I wasn't really sure if there would be any, either free or pre-made designs with what I had in mind. Especially considering, the struggles of getting everything I wanted in mind while still being, affordable. So when I first came across the dragon model that I ended up buying, that was kind of perfect. It wasn't everything I wanted, but it was very close to it. To those of you who've been here a lot longer, you may have already noticed pre-existing models that I tried. One I think was a fox or a dog girl. One was just an elf, but I think that might have been AI. And yeah, I would rather support actual artists and not AI. So I didn't keep that one for very long. Until I found one that was from an actual artist, and I bought that to support the artists. But I still want my very own model one day. Obviously, I have a chibi one, which I'll absolutely love, really adore it. But one day I want to get my own, full body one. I just gotta save up for it after paying off, you know, other adulting stuff. One day. Anyway, so what really inspired me is just, well, my homeland, really. So I'm Welsh, and we have the best damn flag in the world. The bros can fight it, you can deny it, but it's true. Why? Well, if you're not familiar with the Welsh, we have a fucking dragon on our flag. That's right. A dragon. And dragons are awesome. Why are they awesome? Well, you tell me. We just are. The other things we're kind of well known for is sheep. I'm sure the English will have something to say about that, but and daffodils, leek, and a couple of other things, but the first thing that comes to mind is probably either dragons or, sheep. And there's a plethora of sheep VTubers, some even Welsh. Or at least I think that there's at least one. I can't remember their name, but there's at least one. But there aren't many dragon VTubers. And if there are, they're usually, based on other different types of dragon designs, and not the Welsh dragon. Um, so that's kind of what inspired my design. And my persona, is basically just me. Um, I can't really say I hide much. I am who I am. You either like me or you don't like me. Not like Marmite, except I hate Marmite's gross. um, but yeah. So that's that one. If your character could have any superpower, what would it be and why? Um, well, I can already fly because I have wings. I'm a dragon, so I can breathe fire. So I guess those. Um, would I like to be able to do other things though? Like not dragony things? Hmm. Well, I wouldn't mind like having super strength. Just because that would be pretty cool. Um, if I could turn it on and off, maybe mind reading. Because I wouldn't want to hear people's thoughts all the time. But sometimes I'm a little bit nosy and I just kind of want to, know what people think. Or just mess with people. But don't tell anybody that. Because it's not very often my trollish side comes out. I'm usually very, very quiet and very nice. But there are times when I feel like trolling a little bit. Um, so reading minds would be fun. As long as, I could turn it off and on as I wanted. Do you have any funny or embarrassing moments from your VTuber journey? Just the scarf. Like, if I touch it, I will break it. Eventually. Like, I don't know why. Like, I think it's just a superpower. But I think that's a superpower most streamers have. Like, we don't have to do anything. We just touch something and it breaks. Like, why is that? Is technology just terrible and just easy breaks? Or is it because we're dumb? I don't know. I don't think I'm dumb. Although I am blonde, so maybe that's the reason. So, of course, I can't really use that excuse for everybody else, but I can use that excuse for me, right? Right? um, no, I guess the most embarrassing moments is when I kind of just stumble over my words and then start talking Simish. At least that's what I call it, because I don't know if anyone's ever played The Sims. I know most people have, but I'm sure there's some who don't. Basically, Sims, has their own little language called Simish, where it is pretty much just Berlin, and that's pretty much what I do when for some reason I just can't speak. I just go. Blah, 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 blah. So, what would be your VTuber persona's favorite food? Okay, well, I already have favorite foods. Um, the list is pretty long, but we'll keep it to maybe like 5, shall we? Because my favorite food ever, uh, pork ribs. Like, I don't know what it is about pork ribs, but I just love pork ribs. It's just, maybe it's because I'm a dragon, so eating meat just kind of comes naturally. Um, but I love pork ribs. Um, the second thing I love a lot is Welsh cakes. Not a lot of people will have tried these, but they are so good. Um, they're very similar to scones. If you've ever had a scone, uh, some might pronounce it a scone. I say scone because as soon as you open the packet, they're gone. uh, um, Sorry, that's a little family joke. Anyway, so definitely Welsh cakes. If you ever visit Wales and you're able to go to, say, like a market that sells them, I mean, most supermarkets sell them, but they're definitely better fresh. So if you go to like a proper, market that does fresh, like baked food, 100% try the Welsh cakes. I promise you, if you have sweet tooth, you absolutely love them. They do have like raisins in it, usually, sometimes they might have different other things in it, but the traditional Welsh cases are raisins. They're so good, so good. Um, Third thing would be pasta. I love my pasta. Uh, it can be just plain pasta with just a sauce and maybe a little bit of cheese sprinkled on top. My friend sort of treats me every Friday with pasta. I love it. But tuna pasta is probably one of my favorite pasta dishes. It's just, oh, it's so good. Like, I'm not a huge fan of fish, but I love tuna. Tuna's really nice. So I like it with my pasta. It can be a hot or cold dish, doesn't matter. Uh, the pasta. Um, Another favorite food of mine is chocolate. I don't eat as much of it as I used to, uh, but I do still like chocolate. I have a very sweet tooth. I mean, I'm sweet, so, sweet tooth for a sweet girl. Um, I think my favorite chocolate would be probably Ferrero Rocher. Or what else do I really um Bueno. Bueno. That's the one. I don't know what it is about Bueno. I just really like it. Um and the next thing, I'm gonna have to say Yorkshire puddings. Because or maybe sprouts. I have no wait, leeks. I love leeks. Well, all three. To be fair, you can just put them all together and just say cook dinner. Like a nice Sunday roast. Uh, oh man, it's making me hungry. Although I really like Chinese food as well, so it's kind of hard to just pick five, okay? You have no idea. I just love food. Like, I'm a picky eater, um, because certain textures and flavors don't agree with me. Um, but I do like food. When I like something, I really like something. What is the backstory of your character? Okay, well, oh, this could be a long one. Okay, so actually, before I answer this one, because these two questions are kind of related. How did you come up with the VTuber name? Now I've answered this one before, but I don't think it was in the Q&A. I think I did that in another like a live stream. So I'll do it here first before I answer the other question. So early 2000s. Well, Yahoo Groups was a thing. Uh, I might be showing my age a little bit, but oh well. Um, so me and a group of friends that I can't remember where I met them from now. It might have been other Yahoo groups, or it may have been MySpace, maybe. I can't remember. But me, and this group of people kind of met up online, and we started, you know, chatting and getting along, sharing our interests with anime and things like that. Um, and we decided to make a Yahoo group for role playing. Um, and we decided to, rather than make an anime like roleplay and roleplay as anime characters, we were going to make our own like world and lore and stories, characters and things like that. Um, so I made a character, but I had no name for her. Um, Originally she was a redhead with red eyes. Um, Still technically a dragon, uh, but she didn't really have like horns and wings and tails and things. She was just like dragony in that, you know, she controlled fire, and her sort of like motif was a dragon. Um, I was never sure if I was going to like have her transform into a dragon at any point. I was still new to creating characters back then. Um, but I was looking for a name. So I was trying to think of all different names that, you know, would fit really well with this character. And I kind of asked my friend if she had any ideas. And eventually she came up with the name Yukiro. Um, Back then, when I looked into the name, I couldn't find anything. So, as far as I know, she did just make the name up. It might have been Japanese, inspired by the word yuki. Um, Although having red hair and red eyes, I'm not sure if that is what she got. You know, it was inspired by. Um, Obviously, I do have white hair now, so it's well, white blonde. You know, uh, so it is a little bit more fitting. But I don't know if that's what she was inspired by. I never really asked her. Um, but the name Fayt is just kind of a different way of spelling like fate. Like it's fate we've met. That's all fate. Um, that the last time I did come up with myself. Um, so that's how I got the name. And that is sort of like the backstory of the character. There is more to it though. Um, so the character's name has been changed now. Not me here. Um, you understand what I mean in a minute. Um, but I decided, it was like 10 years ago. It might have been a little bit more than that actually. Um, it was a while ago. Um, I decided, at the encouragement of a couple of friends, to write a book. So I decided that although I wasn't going to have Yukiro as the main character, I did want her to be one of the gods in that world. Um, so for the first book, although I have changed the name now and re-released the book, um, originally she was in there, red hair, you know, wings, being able to like transform into a dragon, the whole shebang. Um, but I realized, um, quite late into my writing career actually, that having my pen name, or in this case, VTuber name, or just my online brand name, and the character name as the same thing was a little bit awkward. It kind of like felt like I was self-inserting, and Yukiro and I have nothing in common, like nothing. Um, she's very much, how can I say this? She's a little bit of a bitch, but she still has a somewhat of kindness to her because of her boyfriend slash whatever. Um, but she was never supposed to be a good character, like a good person. She was definitely more of an antagonist, at least originally. Um, I do one day want to actually write her story again, and with all like the edits I've made of her. Um, but obviously, I didn't want to use the name Yukiro for that character anymore, so I did end up changing it. Um, but I still really liked the idea of her, you know, design. But I kind of wanted to make it me more me. Um, so now I am Yukiro, and that character is not. She hasn't changed personality or looks or anything. It's just mostly the name is different. Um, her new name is Talith. I love it. I did have another character named Talith. But that was for a mod that I used to play. And there's absolutely no relation to either of the characters. It was just a case of I really like the name and I really wanted to use it again. So she's now called Tal, and I am Yukiro. Yeah. So that's those two questions kind of tied together. So, what is your favorite video game of all time? Okay, so I think most of you can probably guess what my favorite video game is all of all time is. Um, it shouldn't be any surprise to anybody. Obviously, it's Dragon Age. I mean, can you blame me? It has dragons, even though you kind of kill most of them. Uh, it has dragons. How can I not love it? Plus, it has elves and dwarves and all the fantasy goodness that all entails. Um, Dragon Age is actually the first media with elves that I actually really attached to. I don't know why. Like, I love Lord of the Rings, don't get me wrong. And obviously Legolas is, fetching. But I always didn't like elves. Like, I always used to think they were like really stuck up and snobbish. I mean, they are. Don't get me wrong. But I think Dragon Age portrayed them in such a new light to me that I was like, I kind of really grew attached to them. Plus, then they are heavily inspired by Irish and Welsh. Obviously, there might be some other inspiration there, um, but they are heavily inspired by my culture and the Irish culture. And that kind of really resonated with me, especially considering, the Dalish go through what they go through, and it's very similar to what, my people have been through, um, and the Irish as well. And uh, I don't know if anyone follows me on Blue Sky, um, but I did actually ask David Gader, the creator of Dragon Age Origins, um, if he was inspired by the Welsh and Irish culture, um, and he pretty much confirmed it. Granted that he did say there might be other like inspirations there, as the games did come out like 2007, I believe. So it's probably been a long time, so he probably can't remember all the details. But he said it was definitely like intentional that there were very big similarities there. So that is my favorite game of all time. I do have other favorite games. I don't think anything can quite beat Dragon Age for me. Had I not played Dragon Age, I would have probably said one of the Final Fantasies. Because they're what I kind of started my RPG like journey with. Um, but Dragon Age has just kind of taken over everything. There are some other games that I really like though. Obviously Final Fantasy, as I said. But Breath of Fire, yeah, don't judge me. I obviously have a type of game I like, okay? um, so Breath of Fire, I really want to play that actually live, or at least record it for you guys. Um, Depending on the game, because like the first two are very much like old school Final Fantasy, like 1 and 2, very reminiscent of that. I think they came out near enough the same time. Like I definitely think Final Fantasy came out first, obviously. Uh, but Breath of Fire 1 and 2 came out around that era, so it has that sort of like aesthetic to it, the battle system, the graphics, everything. But 3 and 4, um, they definitely changed it and became their own thing. I prefer 4. Dragon Quarter does not exist. Dragon Quarter is an abomination. It does not exist, okay? um, Breath of Fire 4 is definitely my favorite out of out of out of the 4. Um, 3 is probably my next favorite because it's really emotional. It really gets you. But basically, the main character is dragon. Okay. So yeah, you can tell I have a bias. Uh, I just like games where you can be dragons or have dragons in your game, even if they're not all like happy-go-lucky or whatever. Like, because they're dragons. Uh, but I just love games like that. I miss having games like that. Like a lot of RPGs nowadays are just kind of the same. Like, there's no innovation. There's nothing new. Not really. I mean, maybe I'm just missing some good games. I don't know. I think companies have just like decided to do more live action stuff and more sort of like online live service. And I don't really like that. I just don't. Um, there's some good online games, don't get me wrong. I enjoy like playing like a few games that, I can play with my friends. But it's very rare you get to really see a good RPG anymore. Obviously Baldur's Gate is out there, so hopefully that inspires some companies to like, you know, get on the hype train and make more RPGs. Um, but there's just not many. Like there really isn't. And that's sad. Anyway, I kind of rambled. So carrying on from gaming, what type of games do you enjoy streaming the most? Personally, again, probably RPGs. Just because they're what, I'm kind of attached to. Um, but I'll play most any games while streaming. It depends on what I want to do for that stream. Like, do I want to show off like the games that I really love to other people who might also love those games? Yes. Or do I want to like, talk to my chat? Because if I wanted to talk to my chat more than I want to like game, then I'm gonna need a game that doesn't like have a lot of dialogue or where I can just talk and still play at the same time. So kind of like the the card shop simulator game I was playing the other day. That's a really good game for streaming because you don't have to think too much about it, and you can still sort of like chat with others at the same time. So that's a really good game for that. I don't know what games are the best for streaming. It's just what I enjoy. Do you have a dream game you'd love to play on stream? Ooh, that's a good question. I'd really like to stream, probably like Pokemon or something. Like, I have a lot of games, but there's not a lot I'm limited to. And by limited, I don't mean like copyright or anything, because that's usually one of my biggest worries. No, the reason I can't stream like games like Pokemon, is because I don't have like the equipment to set up my Switch, my laptop and stuff, and stream it that way. Um, because I would love to be able to play like Pokemon. I know there's like emulators and stuff, uh, but I know sometimes depending on how quirky Nintendo has been at any one time, uh, that can be a hit or miss or whether or not they allow that. Um, so I've kind of avoided Nintendo games because I just can't be bothered with the trouble. Like even if it's okay in the time, it might end up not being okay later, and I just don't. I, it's just too much. It's just too much. Anyway, that's enough depressing thoughts. Have you ever rage quit a game on stream? What happened? I have not rage quit on stream yet. I have rage quit once though, not on stream, but I have rage quit once. What game was I playing? It was a Disgaea game. It was a Disgaea game. What one was it? I think it might have been. It might have been four. Is it four? I'm trying to think what one it was now. I think it was 4. It was the one with Velvetoras and that one. I think it was that one anyway. Or was it Disgaea D2? I can't remember. It was a Disgaea game anyway. Uh, so I don't usually use certain words. I especially don't use them towards people because it's just rude. Uh, but let's just say I use the C word plus waffle because I like adding that. I like adding waffle to that word for some reason. I don't know why. Don't ask. Uh, and I just had to turn it off because it was making me rage. It was making me rage. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It was cheating. It was cheating. Okay, like it just pissed me off. So I called my PlayStation a sea waffle because it just really pissed me off. And I don't think any other game has ever made me that angry. Like I can handle dying. I don't mind dying. Okay, like I die a lot in Dragon Age. It's fine. It's part of the game. But when your game is like cheating and deliberately like doing things to make you like angry, I get angry sometimes. Okay, I just do. Um, apparently I have a fight response when I'm angry. Okay. Okay. Hopefully I don't get that angry and rage quit on stream and start using words like that. Because I don't like using it in front of other people. Like I'm fine using it at a computer because it's just an inanimate object. But I definitely don't want to be a bad influence, you know? uh, I will say though, the British have a way with insults, shall we say. Like, anyway. Maybe that's a different video. Um, what was the hardest game you've ever played? Oh, hmm. I'm gonna have to say Slay the Spire. Like, it isn't a hard game. Like, the premise is very easy. The gameplay is very easy to get into. It's not difficult to get into the game at all. However, I have not gotten past floor 2. Like, I'm sure my friend like is laughing at me. Like, she probably won't even watch this. Um, but the last time I mentioned like I couldn't get past floor 2, she did kind of tease me a little bit. Um, but yeah, Slay the Spire is goddamn fucking hard, man. Like, I don't know why I can never get up past like the second floor. Like, it's just so hard. One of these days I will complete it. One of these days. Um, I don't have any room on my PlayStation 5 now because I've got too many fucking Bioware games on there. So I can't actually play Slay the Spire live. I do have Call of the Lamb installed though, because I was playing that again recently. But anyway, that's me rambling. If you could live in any video game world, which would you pick? Hmm. You see, as much as I love Dragon Age, I like technology. And I mean, let's be for real here. I'm a dragon. How do you think that's going to go? Like, even if I take this human form, which is very cute, don't get me wrong. But what do you think would happen? Hmm? That's right. Either I would get consumed by the blight, or some would-be dragon slayer would come along and be like, aha, dragon, let's slay the dragon. Because that's what would happen. And I don't want that. I don't need no heroic knight coming to slay me. Like, um, it could go like Mass Effect. But then you'd have the worry of the Reapers. And I don't want to be reaped by the Reapers. Like, you don't understand how much I would hate. Although the Ragnar song is really pretty. I do like the Ragnar song. But yeah, anyway. Although space travel would be really fun. Plus I would have all the like technology I want. The Reapers, man. Scary shit. um I would probably have to say something nice and chill. Maybe Pokemon. Like the Pokemon world. That would be chill. Like, yeah, it has its dangers. But you can practically capture God, so you know. And then you just have God fight for you. So, you know. um, Plus I would make a really good gym leader, I reckon. What do you think? I'd probably have to go with fire gym. Although you can get different elements of dragons, so I could just be a dragon trainer. Like a dragon gym leader. That would have to be what I'd be. It's not anything new, but it would fit. Plus I'd have all technology I needed. And I'd get cute little critters that I could just like squeeze and hug and keep warm. I'd probably have like an army of EVs and the evolutions. No, not to like fight in my gyms or anything, just because I can. Because that's kind of what happens every Pokemon game. I just have like an army of EVs, just because they're so cute. The only Eevee I don't have in my Build-A-Bear collection is Sylveon, and that's only because I keep forgetting to like order it. uh, they need to bring out dragon evolution. Like they gave us fairy. Why haven't they given us a dragon one yet? I'm very, very, very much hoping Nintendo gives us a dragon one. uh, Continuing on. Do you prefer playing solo games or multiplayer with your community? Uh, so everyone pretty much knows the answer to this. So this is mainly for the new people who are probably seeing this one for the first time, and none of my others. But I definitely prefer playing solo. Um, I don't hate other people generally, but I hate playing with other people. That sounds really awful. Um, but basically, unless I'm playing with friends, I can be very anxious when playing with other people. Uh, like I don't know how they're going to speak to me, like in voice chat and whatnot. Uh, it's not so much like because of genders or whatever. It's it's just, am I going to be stuck with a bunch of kids? Like nothing wrong with being a kid. Being a kid's great, but I'm not a kid, and I don't need like 8-year-olds reaching down my ear. It's bad enough that I have a nephew who likes doing that sometimes. It's just like, oh no, no, stop. um, then there's obviously a few other reasons. I just don't find it as fun with strangers. Like if it's with friends and people I can get along with, it's fine. Uh, but I just have a lot more fun playing solo. Okay, we're gonna take away from gaming for now. Um, and do a little bit more behind the scenes questions. So what equipment do you use for streaming? Okay, I use Streamlabs because it was just the first thing I tried, and it's easy enough, and I don't mind using it. Uh, the laptop I use I believe it's HP Victus. Uh, I did try a few other laptops in my time. I'm probably going to butcher the name, but it's intentional. You'll know why in a minute. So I did try an Asus, and the reason I call it an Asus is because it's a sussy burger. So when I first got it, it was great. It was powerful. It was able to play all the games. It had colourful sort of like backlight around the keys, so I could use it in the dark if I wanted to. Not that I do because I'm fucking blind. Um, but it was really pretty. Like it was a like rainbowy color, like not full on rainbow, but several colors. It was very pretty, and I loved it. However, less than a month later, the OS completely died. I couldn't factory reset. I couldn't do anything. It had just completely gone. Like, oh, gone. Um, lucky enough, it was still within warranty, and I was able to like send it back to Amazon and get a replacement. Which was very very nice of them. They were very quick, so at least the company and Amazon and everything were really good about that. So I'll give them credit where credit is due. Uh, but Asus is a very sussy backer. um, I've also tried Acer, and I really liked my old Acer laptop. That was the one I was using. Obviously not while I was first streaming. But it was what I was using originally from writing. It wasn't a gaming laptop or anything. It was just a really good, decent like laptop, and I loved it. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how. Uh, but the bit that connects like the screen to the keyboard, the middle bit, the bit that sort of like bends so you can fold the screen, that started cracking. The laptop itself is fine; it still works. But I can't close the lid anymore or the screen. Like, I can't put it down to like storage it because if I do it, like literally just cracks more and breaks. So unfortunately, I did have to get a new laptop because when we go on holidays, I take my laptops with me so I can continue writing. Um, so I need a laptop that I can storage and take with me places. Uh, so that's the reason I ended up needing a new laptop. And I ended up going back to an old HP laptop. Uh, the laptop I was on originally while streaming. Uh, I would have gone with another Acer gaming laptop, but unfortunately they were a little bit too expensive. So I ended up buying this one, which is the HP Victus. Do you have any tips for new VTubers starting out? Now, I'm clearly not a big VTuber. I am not even monetized, which is fine. So I don't know how much my tips is worth anything. But I would say just if you're going to be a VTuber, don't do it with money in mind, like earning money. Do it because you want to, because you have fun doing it. Like this isn't just a VTuber thing; it's a streamer thing in general. Like whatever you do for a job, or even if it's just like for fun, do it because it is fun. Like I know a lot of people want to like make it rich, make it big, make it rich. A big influencer, but the big VTuber, big streamer, whatever. But if you don't have fun with your work, with your streaming, then you're gonna get burnt out quicker. Um, you're gonna sort of dread streaming a lot more if you just do it because as just a job. Like it's fine to have it as a job, uh, but don't only do it because it's a job. You know, like I want to know that people are having fun while they're streaming. Because if you're not having fun, it really shows. And your mental health and your physical strength, physical health is more important to you than anything else should be. And I know money's important, we live in a capitalist world. But if you're streaming it and you're not having fun with it, you're not going to do well. And I don't mean that as popularity thing. I mean just your health wise, you're not going to do well. You're going to burn out. You're going to get mentally hurt if you're not having fun. You're not enjoying yourself. It's something I've seen in not just like VTubers. I've seen it for other careers as well, and I'm actually experiencing it a little bit with writing. Like I'm not writing the things I want to write because what I want to write doesn't not sell. What the companies I write for want are, the adult romance, werewolf cringe stuff, which is fine. Like I can write it, and I'll sometimes have a little bit of fun with it. A few people have noticed that my stories are a little bit different to what they're used to because I try to have a little bit of my own flair in them. But that does not make my books popular because I don't write all the cringe. Sometimes I joke about it and say, "Oh, maybe this is what I should be writing," and like other people are like, "No, please don't, Dad, quit." Yeah. Um, but yeah, I'm getting burnt out a little bit. I say a little bit, quite a lot actually, because I'm not enjoying the writing as much as I could be because I'm not writing what I want to write. Like I love fantasy, and fantasy is what I want to write. Um, sure, werewolves are a type of fantasy, but it's not the fantasy adventure. So when I think of fantasy, I think of things like Lord of the Rings, Dragon Age, things like that. But werewolves are more modern fantasy, and the werewolves I knew were horror. Werewolves. The platforms I write for are romance and cringe and smell and uh, so it's not the same. People like keep trying to like convince me it is, but it's not. It's just not. So yeah, do something because you have fun with it, not because you think you're going to make a lot of money from it. That's basically what I'm saying. Do I have any other advice? Um, do a lot of research before deciding to join a company. Like, I'm not gonna say anything bad about any VTuber studios because I've never worked for any of them. So make up whatever opinions you want about whatever company you want because I don't know. I'm not gonna tell you what you should or shouldn't think about it. Uh, that's not what I'm here for. But do definitely 100% research the platforms. Uh, take it from an author with online serialized writing. Make sure you research 100%. I really regret signing with iStory/TapFun. The amount of stress I go through every time I find out my books have been plagiarized. It's just like, oh great, is this iStory's fault or is this, someone else? And it's just so tiring. Just and they won't terminate my books even though they, broke the contract first. Although I've had my revenge on that, but that's a whole other story and a video I've already made. So, um, but I do 100% regret signing with them, and I'll never encourage anyone to sign with them again because they are the most shadiest company. Well, maybe not the shadiest company because there's definitely a few out there. Um, but it's definitely the worst one I've had to deal with, and never again, never again. So yeah, 100% make sure you research the platform. Ask others who have or worked with them before and are able to talk a little bit more about it. Obviously, I don't know what their contracts are like and how long they have to wait until they can talk about things. Because there's usually like a time limit before they can talk about things after they've left. Um, but definitely talk with people about it, like their experiences, good or bad. Because if you join a platform and they end up being something similar to like Tap Fun was for me, then it's just gonna make your health, your mental health, like bad, and that's no fun. So definitely 100% research. How long does it take to prepare for a stream? Not usually long. I usually take longer because I like to faff around because I'm an idiot. um, I usually like to eat before I stream because nothing would be more awkward than hearing my stomach growl in midstream. uh, can you imagine that? Oh God, how embarrassing would that be? One of these days, that's gonna happen though, just because it's bad luck, and I'm always bad luck. I don't know if it's different for anybody else. Um, like I don't really plan my streams. I know I probably should. Uh, but I just kind of go, "Oh, what do I fancy doing today?" But that's kind of the joys of being like an indie VTuber. You do get to have a lot more leeway. So what is the most challenging part of being a VTuber? I would say, for me personally, is deciding what game to play. Because I have so many games I want to play, I want to share with everybody, and talk about and fangirl or fanboy over or fan person over, that I sometimes kind of start too many games, uh, and then never finish them. Although you know, already have in most cases, like Dragon Age Origins. But then I'm just like, I just have way too many games going at once. So that's probably my biggest challenge. Obviously, with other VTubers, they probably have other bigger challenges. Um, I can't say I've ever had a problem trying to set up a stream or anything before. Um, I think the only time I've had a little bit of trouble was when I forget to change the headset or the microphone on Streamlabs because I'm an idiot. um, but I've never had anything too difficult that I couldn't handle. Maybe that'll change in the future. Knowing my luck, it will, because as I said before, I break everything. Um, so what software or programs do you use for your streams and animations? I have a feeling I answered a similar question to this before, but I guess I can still answer it again. So I use Streamlabs, obviously, to do the majority of my like recording and streaming. I use VTube Studio for host like my model. Uh, I do have a web camera for my face tracking. But this laptop's one is actually really good, so I'm just using the laptop one now because it's actually just as good as the camera I bought. Like my old laptop, I needed the camera because that camera wasn't very good. Um, but this camera's really good. Like it really picks up my facial expressions and my mouth movements really well. So I don't actually need to use the other camera. Um, my headset is what is it called? MPOW. I had to double check then. MPOW. Um, I do have a mic which is something else. I can't remember what it's actually called. Um, but they're all fairly like cheap ones. Like I haven't gone out my way to get expensive equipment because I am literally a broke artist that doesn't do art. um, I right. So that's technically my creative my brave bit there. I'm a broke writer. um, so I don't use anything fancy. Like I know a lot of people prefer like the high end stuff. Uh, but you don't really need it. Like if you're a cheap ass bitch like me, or just don't have the money, you can get away with like cheaper stuff. Like obviously, when you do get the funds, like upgrade stuff if you need to, or save up for a better one if you want. But you don't need like the really expensive shit. You just don't. Okay, let's move on about away from the technical stuff because although I'm good with technical stuff, uh, it's not really my forte. Although I did once, long ago, back in MySpace days, know how to use HTML. Don't think I can remember any of it though. Okay, these questions are just for fun. If you were stranded on an island, which three things would you want to have with you? Okay. Um, I would say a good phone with uh internet roaming data, so then I could call for help. That might be cheating though. This question is probably better asked before technology became as good as it was. Um, okay, jokes aside though, let's not include that because you know that's kind of cheated. Um, I would say something like a weapon. Like I'd probably like take my swords with me. Um, just so that I'd have something to either stab fit at fish, so I could like hunt, like catch fish in the shallows, or just as a general sort of protection uh against like spiders because I hate spiders. May they all burn. um, but you know, just general protection. Uh, so probably my swords. Uh, I don't know if my chat actually knows I have swords. Anyway, um, I would also want to take. Now, there'd be no point in taking anything technology-wise because there wouldn't be any electricity, assumedly. Um, otherwise, I'd just like take my PlayStation and just like have fun with that. Um, so I would probably take um, like a tent or caravan or something that I could live in and not be exposed to the elements. Um, and then maybe like assuming I already got clothes on and they don't count. Hopefully this island has a nice beach. I would want like uh maybe like a swimsuit or something, uh, or something where I can actually like change my clothes and go swimming, and either just to have a nice swim because I like swimming, uh, or to catch fish and I don't have to like go commando, or have to dry out my clothes later. Uh, but I think that's what I would choose. Like I'm sure there are other things that would be a little bit more like important, but I kind of know how to make a fire, so I'd be okay on that front. But the things I would struggle with would definitely be making like shelter, because I'm better at breaking things than I am making things, uh, as we've all well established. Um, so yeah, I think those would be my three things. Assuming we can't have like technology and stuff, because no electricity. What's your pleasure song or movie? Now, I've already done. Oh no, actually, I didn't do a guilty pleasure. It was a comfort movie, wasn't it? Hmm. A guilty pleasure movie. Um, Music-wise, I would probably say my guilty pleasure song is My Immortal from Evanescence. I was never a big fan of them growing up. Uh, I didn't hate them, but I thought they were a little bit overrated. Uh, but for some reason, even though that is the most overrated song of theirs, it's probably the one I liked the most. Like, it's probably like not the guiltiest of guilty pleasures ever. But it is my guilty pleasure. As for movie, I don't think I really have a guilty pleasure movie. Like, I don't really feel guilty or embarrassed by any of the movies I like. Um, I guess the closest one might be Flight of Dragons. But only because it's so old and the animation isn't the best. It's by Rankin Bass, actually, the same studio who did The Last Unicorn. Uh, but they had a very lower budget. Um, the first and only time I tried to get one of my friends to watch it with me, he asked me, "Why are the dragons fat?" And I was like, "Well, not all of them are. They're all designed on like different dragons. Some Chinese and some Japanese inspired dragons too. Some Western dragon inspired dragons. There is a reason the Western dragons are shaped the way they are. Uh, we didn't get through that movie very far because I was just like, well, if you're not enjoying it, then don't worry about it. So I think that's become my guilty pleasure movie. Not because it's a guilty pleasure per se, but because I seem to be the only one who really enjoys it. And I don't like forcing people to like watch or enjoy the same things I do. Like, you either like something or you don't, and it's fine. Uh, as long as you've tried before you've like decided. Uh, but it's just like I just really like the movie. Like, it's a very D&D inspired. It was kind of based on like a couple of books, like the Dragon of George. I think the story itself was what it was based on, like the idea of a person becoming like getting melded or becoming a dragon. Um, but the scientific aspects of the dragons came from someone else. So the other book was also called The Flight of Dragons, and it was by Peter Dickinson. Uh, and that was where like the main like inspiration came from, was him rather than the Gorge and the Dragon, or Dragon and the Gorge, or whatever it was called. Uh, so basically, the Western dragons, at least, I'm not sure if it was the same for the other dragons because they were again uh Eastern sort of like inspired. So they were like long and slender, kind of like a snake. Um, but the other dragons, they kind of work in the same way a blimp does. So you have the hot air in the middle, and that's it kind of makes hydrogen, blah 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 blah, hydrogen, uh, and so that gives them their lift. And then they have a little thimble at the back of our tongues, and when that it gets sparked, when we're releasing gas, no other way to put it, that's what sparks the gas and it makes fire breath. So there were reasons behind it, but why they were designed the way they were. And I loved it because it was very nerdy. Um, and it was just really good. Like, the story itself is like very basic. It's very D&D inspired. Like, it doesn't break any story like walls or anything. Like, it is quite a basic story, but it's just so good. Like, I just love it. It is my guilty pleasure. maybe one day I'll do like a video on it. But yeah, my guilty pleasure. There we go. If you could hang out with any fiction character, who would it be? Hmm. See, now this one's really hard because there are so many Dragon Age characters I would love to hang out with, but there's also a lot of Mass Effect characters I'd also like to hang out with, and there's also a lot of anime characters I like to hang out with, and book and movie and all the things. Um, I think out of all of them, hmm, I think I'd actually want to hang out with Toothless, like Toothless the dragon, because he is such a fun time. Like I don't know if I'd be able to understand him because we're, you know, different types of dragon. Uh, but assuming I could, I think he would just be so much fun to hang out with. And he's adorable. Like I just want to give a big hug. Maybe not the dragon kisses though, because dog kisses are bad enough. Okay. I love my doggos, but their breath stinks. Okay. uh, and we all know Toothless's saliva does not wash out. What's your favorite holiday and why? Hmm. Well, I don't know. I kind of really like Halloween, like because it is one of the very few times I can like cosplay and dress up. Um, Granted, I could go to a con, but that costs me money, and it's far away. Although I do have one in one of the cities near me, it's not as popular, and I don't know what it's like. But um, yeah, I think Halloween for me is just it just does something that none of the other holidays do. Like obviously Easter's Easter. It's nice having chocolate, don't get me wrong. Um, but a lot of the holidays we have, uh, I guess they're technically Christian, but you know they have very heavy pagan roots. Like Halloween's was mostly Irish traditions. Um, I mean, the Welsh had some too. Don't get me wrong, but was mostly inspired by the Irish traditions. Um, and then obviously Christmas was a few other pagan traditions, like the Yule log and Saint Nick and whatnot. Um, so I was never really attached to them because I am not really religious, but they are sort of like uh Britain's main holidays. Um, Obviously we don't have Thanksgiving here because we're not America, but we do have bonfire night. I do like that day, because we get to have fireworks and it's fun. Uh, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite because of that. Like, yeah, fireworks are fun. It's nice watching fireworks, especially like if you go to a big display. Um, and not that I want to blow up Parliament or anything. But there's a lot of history with it. Uh, yes, with blowing up Parliament or trying to anyway, fails, but still. Uh, so I don't know. Like, it's a weird tradition. It's a good tradition, but it's a little bit weird. Like, why are we celebrating someone who tried to blow up Parliament? I don't know. The British are weird. Okay, we're weird. I admit it. We're weird. Uh, but yeah, definitely Halloween. Like, it's not as loved here as say in America. Like, America loves Halloween. They have like big displays and everything. From what I've seen, and they look really cool. Uh, we do trick or treaters, and sometimes people host little parties for their kiddos. But it's not big here. Like, I saw Christmas decorations, like Christmas decorations, before I saw Halloween decorations. Like, it's so annoying. It's just like, yeah, Christmas is good and all, but why are you putting Christmas adverts on the radio? Christmas decorations out for people to buy in goddamn September. Like, why? Why? Granted, I think this year has been the worst so far because normally it's October at least. Like, but why? Why September? I had to turn the radio off several times, go into work and whatnot because it's just like, why? We haven't even had Halloween yet. Like, we're not even near Halloween yet, let alone like bonfire night. And you're doing Christmas goddamn fucking songs. Stop. I will say the place that I work has not yet started with the Christmas songs or the Christmas adverts. They have had like stock out for Christmas decorations and stuff, which is a little bit annoying. But at least they haven't done like the radio stuff, which would really piss me off. Although it's fine now, you know, the other holidays are over. They can do what they want now. I won't be mad. I promise. Um, but other places have, and it's just like, stop. It's too early. Like, you're making me want to hate Christmas, and I don't want to hate Christmas because it's Christmas. Stop. Stop. Just because you want to get all that money does not mean to say it's okay. What's something most people don't know about you? Oh, there's a few things. Some of it is a little bit too personal to share. Um, okay, without going into too much detail, hmm, there is a couple of things, obviously, but a lot of it is really personal, and I'm not quite at the place where I want to like trauma dump on people. Um, so I'll keep it vague. This was a long time ago, so I'm pretty much okay now. Uh, but I did once suffer with depression. Um, I was stupid and didn't actually try to get any help for it. For a couple of reasons. Uh, it's still kind of hard to talk about, so again, I'll just keep it vague. Uh, but I did go through depression and thoughts of not being with people anymore. Um, I don't feel that way now, uh, but it is something I've been through, and although I don't feel that way now, I do sometimes still struggle with uh different things. Um, and not a lot of people know that about me because I'm always so cheerful, so happy, or just completely weird and crazy. Uh, but I have suffered with things, and people don't know how hard it is to pull yourself out of that sort of thing. It's kind of why I don't want to talk, although it's not quite involved, like quite the reason, but it's why I don't like talking about political stuff on here because I don't want to end up in a depressed state. What I was depressed over has nothing to do with political stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I want to be able to focus on good, happy feelings, not drama. Although I'm sure that will end up happening at some point because it's the internet. Um, but I don't want to focus on negative feelings. I don't want to be, or I have to hate this game because X, Y, or Z. I don't have want to speak on things that are very emotional, regardless of what side of the spectrum you're on, or political spectrum. I just want to be happy, and I want other people to be happy. I know it's hard. Um, Whoever you are, you know, life sucks sometimes. It does. That's why sometimes it's good not to surround yourself with negativity. And it it's hard. But anyway, sorry. It's hard to talk about it, and I don't really want to explain too much. Just know that you're not alone, and it's okay. You'll be okay. It might not always feel like it, but I promise it will get better. Whew. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? Oh, that took a 180. Um, 100 duck-sized horses would be so goddamn cute, though. Like, I don't mind ducks. Ducks are cute as well, but is this a male duck or is this a female duck? Because male ducks are fucking assholes, man. Like, do you know how male ducks work? Like, with things? Because they're fucking assholes. They will drown the female just so they can, breed her. Like, ducks, male ducks are fucking assholes, okay? So I think I'd rather fight 100 duck-sized horses because that would be goddamn fucking cute. Like, oh, they're so cute. Just teeny tiny horses. Why wouldn't I want to? Well, I wouldn't want to fight with them. It'd have to be a play fight. Like, I wouldn't never hurt the little tiny horses, sized horses. They're so cute. Um, if your VTuber persona had a secret talent, what would it be? Oh, hmm, I don't know. Maybe spying. That would be fun. Like, hmm, I don't know. Like, I definitely can't sing. And I can't draw. Um, and I can already write. Like, I'm not the best writer out there, but I can write already, so I don't really need that as a special talent because I already got it. Um, but yeah, maybe spying, like like a ninja. That would be fun. Okay, so moving on. We're gonna have some more community questions, I guess. What's the most memorable interaction you've had with that? Um, I'm still obviously a very new streamer, so I don't really have a whole lot of memorable stuff that's happened. Um, so let's go with writing. I think for me, the most memorable comments I've had with my books from fans have been like how they went into the book thinking like they were gonna get like just the normal uh romance slot that is usually promoted, but then they found out that, my books were slightly different to that. Like it still had some of the slop in it because that's what sells. And that's what the platforms kind of push on their writers. Uh, but because I added a lot more fantasy and world building, uh, it kind of made my books a little bit more unique. So they were really surprised by that. And it's always nice to get, praises to some of my books. It makes me in like know I've like done well. Um there are definitely a lot more popular authors out there. Like I'm definitely nowhere near any of those. Um, but I do try, and so seeing someone enjoy like my world building, my stories, and my characters, that means a lot to me. And I don't know where I'd be as an author if I didn't have, people like going out of their way to read my books. It's always nice to get criticism too, like proper criticism and not just "this sucks lol," uh, but genuine criticism. Because then I know where I've gone wrong and where I can improve. So for me, I want to say some of my memorable moments of those. As for VTubing, I want to say my most memorable ones are where me and my fans can get to talk about like just all the nerdy things and reminiscing about all the things that we used to like have growing up. So that's always fun. It's always a treat to like reminisce and have that nostalgic feeling. Like you just can't beat a good old nostalgia. You just can't. Because that's what nostalgia is. What kind of content do you want to create next for your community? Well, question and answers, obviously, because that's what we're doing. um, I don't know. Like, I just kind of wing it. Um, when I became a VTuber, my original idea was to review books. Uh, which is why some of my first videos on this channel are like reading, like reviewing books. Um, but I soon realized that I can't really do that very well. One because I tend to get attached to certain books and tend to reread them over and over and over like an idiot. Um, so it's very hard for me to get into new books. And a lot of the books I was reading at that time were romance books. I don't mind a little bit of romance, like it's fine, but I'm very picky when it comes to what I read. Uh, so I kind of gave up on that idea. So yeah, I pretty much just wing it now because it's just like, well, I'd rather just do something I like know I'm going to enjoy and have fun with than trying to like focus on just one thing. Like it's probably not a good thing to like focus on like so many different things. Um, but at the same time, I'd get very bored if all I could do was like review books or review games or do something like just one thing forever. I know it doesn't really work with the algorithm, like YouTube. I don't know about Twitch, but YouTube especially definitely prefers like their creators like making similar content. It's just how the algorithm works. But it's not what I want to do. Like, I don't mind like having a niche. Having a niche is kind of fine. Um, which for me, I think would be RPGs. That's definitely my niche. Uh, but I don't want to be known as just the Dragon Age girl. Like, that's just not me. Like, I have way too many loves just to be stuck on one thing. What's one thing you'd like your fans to take away from your streams? Um, to be happy. Like, I know it's hard, for many people, to find happiness in themselves these days. Um, it's not easy being young, and it's not easy being middle aged. It's not easy being old. Life's just not easy. So if I can give a little bit of joy to people and allow them to like forget like I- issues exist out there, then that's all I really can hope for. To be fair, um, the only important thing I want my fans to take away from my streams is that their happiness and mental health is more important than anything else. Like being angry all the time, being being hateful all the time, it's not good for you. Like, humans were built to be social. Humans were built to, work together to survive. There are assholes out there, sure, and that will never change because humans fucking suck sometimes. But there's no reason to, add on to that sometimes. Sometimes that people are just assholes for fun. But that must be so tiring for them. Like, I don't understand how someone could be angry so much and dedicate their lives so much to that anger when you can have so much joy in your life. It's okay to be angry about things, don't get me wrong. Uh, but definitely put some more thought into being happy, if you can. Because life's too short. Like, we don't know what will happen tomorrow. Like there's a quote from uh Kung Fu Panda, and I can't remember what it is. Today, something about today is a gift, and that's why it's called the present. Something like that. The point is, being angry all the time is just going to take a toll on your mental health. Granted, you can't be happy all the time, but if you can go out there and find some joy in either friends you make or nature or like games you play, whatever it is, then put most of your focus on the things that make you smile, that make you laugh, that make you want to be a good person. Because it doesn't kill you to be a good person. But being a horrible person to people will just make you feel even more isolated and alone. Because sometimes people won't want to put up with it. And that just kind of makes me sad that there's so much hate in the world. And I just want people to try and get along. It's not going to be easy and it's not going to be perfect, but sometimes, sometimes a little joy is needed. So yeah, I know I'm rambling a little bit, but if people can take something away, it'd be to try and find your own happiness, whatever that is. Uh, what do you enjoy most about interacting with your viewers? Um, I just like bantering about like all the different things we enjoy. Like the last stream, we started talking about Robin Williams and all the good movies he used to star in and everything else. And I don't know what I expected becoming a streamer, to be honest. But it definitely wasn't talking about like an actor who like I grew up with. Uh, it kind of came out of left field, but it was such a joy to like talk about and reminisce on like all the old movies. And I think that's what I like most. Like no matter what stream I'm doing, it's always nice to talk about different things, regardless of what I'm playing. And I just love like just meeting new people and enjoying what they grew up with, what they like now, and things like that. It's so much fun. Last couple of questions, I think. So it's going to be a very long video otherwise, especially with all my rambling. Um, so let's focus on the future and aspirations. Where do you see your VTuber career in the next 5 years? Well, technically, it's not a career yet; it's just a hobby. Um, so should I count it as a career? I don't know. Um, career slash hobby, I guess. Um, I don't know. Like, I'd still like to be doing streaming in 5 years' time, but I don't know if that'll happen. Like, I'm not a psychic, guys. I'm a dragon. Okay, I don't know the future. But I would like to still be streaming in 5 years' time. Uh, maybe with my own model, like my own proper model, my own design, everything. That's what I would like to happen. Whether I'm monetized or not, I don't really care because this is just fun for me. Uh, would it be nice to be monetized? I guess so. Um, but it's not important to me. All that's important is that I have fun and I'm able to get along with people that like my streams and reminisce about old things and enjoy the new things. But I would love to have my own like model and everything one day. So I guess that's what I would uh see for my VTuber career in the future. One big goal you have for your channel in the future? Um, I, I guess the same as above. Um, okay, let's try and think of a different answer for that because otherwise that's just cheating. Um, I think my goal would be maybe not be supported by like BioWare, but definitely sort of like be able to like maybe have like a Q&A with them or be able to like place test one of their future games, assuming they're still around. Um, and if not Bioware, maybe ask Capcom why they won't like remaster Breath of Fire 4. I mean, I'd take 3 and 1 and 2 too. Um, but definitely 4 because they obviously already have a PC port for it. Um, I can't get a hold of it, and I don't have a CD player to actually install it on my laptop anyway. But I would love a remaster of that game. Like Capcom has just kind of forgotten it exists. I don't know why. Like, have they not got a license for it anymore, or did Dragon Quarter fail so hard that they just thought the series was dead and just don't want to patch it anymore? Like, I want to know. So, if not Bioware, I would want to talk to them and have my answers like answered. So that would be probably a goal for my channel to be able to talk to like devs and stuff and get some answers. Would you ever collaborate with other VTubers or content creators? Well, I already have collaborated with Knight, so I guess technically counts, right? As for the VTubers, I don't know. Like, I'm familiar with some, obviously, because it's kind of part of the course. Um, who would I want to stream with? Um, like, I don't know. Like, there's so many. Like, Sayu seems like a fun time. Um, and Rin Penrose as well. Sounds like they would be fun. They're also British and English, so I'm sure the banter there would be fun. As long as they're okay with that sort of banter. Uh, but I don't know. Like, there's so many good VTubers out there that it's hard to choose. Like, how do you even choose like the best ones? Like, there's so many good ones. Um, yeah, Monarchs really looks really, seems really fun as well. Like, she is a little literal queen. Like, I don't know. There's so many good VTubers that I don't think I could choose. Like, I'm not even sure like they could uh collab with like indie VTubers, but assuming they could, I guess one of those people. I don't know though. I mean, there's so many. Iron Mouse seems cute as well. Um, I don't know if we'd have anything in common though, because the games she plays and the games I play are so different. Um, but she seems very nice though. Is there anything in particular you want to accomplish during your next milestone stream? Hit 200 members, like subscribers. That would be a dream. Granted, it isn't, a big milestone, but it's one of my milestones. Slowly but surely, it may happen. Anyway, that was some Q&A. I thought they were kind of an interesting, selection of questions to ask, or be asked, and answer. And it was kind of fun answering them, to be fair. And hopefully you guys liked it and it was informative for you. If there are any other questions that you want an answer to, and I have the time to do another video, I'm more than happy to. Feel free to leave questions in the comment section. I can either answer you there, or if I get enough questions, I can also do another a new video, another one. Or I can do both, because that's good, right? Both, both is good. Both. But yeah, it was really fun, just answering a bunch of random questions, and trying to think of the answers. But I'm Yukiro. It is now 2:30 in the morning, and I'm tired if you could not tell, because my voice is getting scratchy. I'll see you later. Nosta, sleep well, and don't let the bedbugs bite. Try to be happy, healthy, and full of love. Later days. Good night.